Every year, engineering students from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo take on projects aimed at improving the lives of people. And since last summer, seniors Ryan Kissinger and Austin Conrad have worked tirelessly to create a pair of bionic hands for a young boy.
Hands for Julian started out as a project that QL Plus was introduced to last fall. He and his family were in a DUI accident, and in April of last year, unfortunately the car caught fire. He lost his dad, little sister, baby brother, 9 digits. It's about as brutal of an accident as we've kind of dealt with here in this club, and it was also very recent. So not only is it a traumatic experience, but all the trauma was very fresh. All of the injuries were very new.
He actually came into the lab and we got to take molds of his hands, just get sort of an initial idea of what everything looked like, so that our design teams could also work on it as well. So basically we turned it into a model on the computer that we could use and manipulate and then design around it. So on his left hand he has hardly any fingers, but on his right hand he has just enough that there's enough mechanical advantage that he can actually bend his fingers.
Do you like it this length, or do you want it a little shorter?
That length looks pretty good.
Yeah, you like that?
Doesn't often.
Yeah, this guy, we're gonna have to fix that a bit.
Yeah.
But that looks okay.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
What are they, 3D print?
They're 3D printed.
Oh,
We use SLA prints. Yeah.
The accident was so recent. The scar tissue has changed, the swelling has changed, the size of his hand, the scale, and to top it all off, aside from the injuries changing because they're so recent, he's 10. So he's growing. That is probably the biggest challenge, is just when you think you have the problem more or less in a box and you can kind of figure out what you need to do, it's not that you didn't have a good solution, the problem changed. And now what do you do?
It's a lot to do, but I mean we're pretty much at the finish line and everything's pretty much done, so it's exciting. Excited to show Julian what we have to present to him. He's very charismatic, so that really shows something. Maybe it's some testament to the human spirit, about people's ability to press on in spite of tragedy, but he is a really charismatic dude. When he was here, we were just, he was playing on his Nintendo Switch, and he was cracking jokes and being really sarcastic. So yeah, really says something. I learned a lot from this project.
You did it.
Now with the right hand, turn it off.
Everybody's crying.
Robin Abkarian of Los Angeles Times has done the piece on Julian and his family and these young students who are trying to change his life. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Lisa.
First of all, a constant reminder of this tragic accident, the burns in the apartment they leave, the little swing set up for them.
Yeah, I mean, 3 family members died in a horrific DUI crash 2 blocks from home. And so the reminders are there everywhere. There was a 7-year-old daughter, the father, and a 5-month-old baby who was still nursing at the time of his death. So the mother and her son Julian survive, and they're facing now recuperating from traumatic physical injuries, from emotional trauma, and figuring out a way to go forward, and it's difficult.
Enter the story, these students from Cal Poly.
Right.
This is part of a program that Cal Poly invests in every year.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
So it's a program that's about 10 years old, I think, called Quality of Life Plus, or QL Plus, and it's often Cal Poly engineering students who take on a project to help somebody generally who's been grievously wounded, somebody who's lost an arm, a competitive swimmer who needs a specialized fin to be able to compete, and they figure out a way to help make this person's life better. And it's not always that they know they're going to build a perfect, replacement hand, but they want these kids and these adults who they help to know we're here and we're trying to help you, and this is what we're dedicating our life to. We're not just trying to make a faster race car. We're trying to make something that can help humanity.
One of them said they want to be a restorative force.
Exactly.
Another said they want to restore order in chaos.
That's right. They think of themselves not just as engineers doing a good deed, but as sort of a metaphor for humanity and the good things that can come of tragedy. And to me, it was shocking in a way, because here are these, 21, 22-year-old kids, and there was a team of 8 of them all together dedicating all their after-school time. I mean, Ryan put off graduating for a quarter semester because he wanted to finish up this project for Julian. So they are dedicated.
And they've come down a couple of times trying to get the fit just right and the operations just right. If it doesn't work, they're going back, they're going to fix it, and they come back again. You met them when they came back for that second visit. When Julian was in the hospital, he was in the hospital for 4 months. Dodgers outfielder Matt Kemp came, and he was a big fan. Matt was traded to Cincinnati, but when he came to play back here in LA, he had Julian throw out the ball. We have an image of that. This is a kid who, even without the prosthetics, has such resiliency. He went to camp too, right?
Yes, and went fishing and did archery. So here's somebody whose life has been irrevocably altered in so many ways, and yet his mother's spirit and his spirit are really strong and positive, and he's also got this very devilish sense of humor. So, the first time they put his prosthetic hand on, he flipped them a bird, and they all broke up laughing, and Ryan, I think, said, we don't have to give you a middle finger. So he's just this really funny, sweet kid who can play video games and enjoy life and be at school and try to be normal again.
And they're going to continue a relationship with him after they graduate from Cal Poly, right?
Yeah, because when you do a project like this, school ends, your life moves on, but the person that you have helped still has needs, and as they said, he's growing, his scar tissue is still relatively fresh, he'll need adjustments, and they said to Julian, we want you to think of us as your 24/7 tech support for this.
I love the story, Robin. It really, I read it twice because it brought tears to my eyes, but then it gave me such hope for the next generation. And I salute Cal Poly and these students, don't you?
I do, and the family too. The mom, Elizabeth, is really just struggling and doing such a good job for her son while dealing with her own grief and tragedy.
Terrific story. Thanks, Robin.
You're welcome.
To read more from Robin Epkaren, go to latimes.com.